Welcome back to our hot seats. If you've been looking for unfiltered information, you're in the right place. I bring to you in the studio today a very important and prominent leader. I want to introduce her. Let me allow her introduce herself to you people.
Makerere University is my name. I'm a year-3 student doing Bachelor of Optometry at the College of Health Sciences. I'm currently serving as a GRC, School of Health Sciences, and by the grace of God, serving as the Guild Vice President of Makerere University. It is a pleasure to be hosted on the hot seat today.
For those meeting you for the first time, who is Kadonde Gracious? Beyond the titles and positions and all that, what can you tell people about yourself?
Okay, well, Kadonde Gracious is a jolly girl, friendly, stubborn, playful, serious sometimes. Yeah, but I think the biggest percentage is just that jolly girl who's always smiling, friendly, and playful. Yeah.
That is all you can tell about yourself.
Yeah, I think that's the character in me. Yeah. Apart from all that leadership and everything, books, the personalities, literally that.
That's nice. It's nice. So tell us a bit about your background. Like, how did you come to want to join leadership?
Okay, so I stood for one leadership position in primary. I was studying at Buganda Road Primary School and I stood for head prefect. Unfortunately, I didn't win. And from that time, I did not really stand for any other thing. Each time I wanted to stand for something, there's that trauma of you lost in primary. So I didn't really stand for anything. Went to Mango. Still, the whole aim was books. So when I come to Makerere, I joined Makerere as someone who has come to get a first class and leave Makerere. But then the people that were surrounding me were into that whole leadership thing. Like, oh, Gracious, we have this event, you can pass by. We have this, we have meet and greet, we have a symposium, you can come through. I'm like, oh, okay, I will. So putting myself in such a space is what inspired me to actually stand for the different positions. Class rep, then the information minister of our association, to GRC, now guild president. So yeah, it was the space, getting into that space, the people around you believing in you, because I didn't see it in myself, but other people saw it in me. Yeah, that is how it all started.
And you think that people were right?
Yes. They were actually right.
It's nice. You're from College of Health Sciences, right?
Yes.
I can get, as a fellow college person, like, I get College of Health Sciences is a really, really, really big thing. It can be really hectic. So how do you balance your college life, your school life with all this political life and social life and all that?
Yes, CHS is really hectic. Physical lectures. Right now I'm in year 3 and everything is physical. You have to be at college. We demand study from inside campus. You have to go to Mulago. But the thing that has kept me going from day one has been discussion groups. I've had one discussion group that has stood with me throughout. Even in my campaigns as GRC, you spend the whole day moving around. You do not focus in class. It's just like, this lecturer move out, I have to go and look for votes. But in the evening, you give them a call. You tell them, guys, today I'm free. Can you come? And you have a discussion. So they've been reading. Some of them have mnemonics. They have ways of understanding these things better than how the lecturer explains the things in class. So they always put in their effort. Even up to now, they said, you're missing the life. Gracious, today we've covered this and this one. Are you coming? And we pass through it. So it's the discussion group. Not that I'll sit down and read, no, but a discussion group. Yes.
So that is how you're able to manage all that.
Yes. Discussions. The group is of 6 people and everyone has something that they bring on the table. I'll bring mnemonics, I'll bring past papers, I'll do this. I'll combine all the questions. We see how best you can discuss them in 1 week. Yes, so it's the discussion.
All the questions in 1 week.
Yes.
Wow. So What's one like a personal principle or like a life lesson that keeps you grounded? Like it's whenever I remind you think of it or whenever I reminded of it, you're like, yeah, this is what keeps me going as a leader and as a person.
Whatever position I'm serving in, the thing that is always at the back of my mind is that I'm not in this position for me as a person. I'm not representing myself. There's a group of people I'm supposed to represent. Even when what they want is not what I want, I have to give priority to what they want, not what I want. Because as a leader, you cannot be there without people. But people can actually exist without a leader. So in whatever you do, realize everything, the position you're in, whatever role you've been given, it's about the people, not you as a person. So even in that tough decision makings, you look at what do the people want, the people I'm serving, what do they actually want, not what I think of as a person. Yeah.
Female leader in a space that is often dominated by men. I mean, we've had girl presidents and GRCs and all that. We've all been mostly men. So, what kind of challenges have you faced, and how do you intend, or how have you overcome them?
Well, I can't say that the space have been dominated by men, because there's a way females are coming up. They're being given the space. At least some policies will say, if we have the girl president as male, vice president should be female. GRCs, we should have a male GRC and a female GRC. So at least they are bringing up females to take up the leadership positions, and they are actually doing it. The only problem is that, yes, there's still that lagging between when it comes to the big positions, like girl president, speaker. I mean, we've never had a female speaker. We've only had 5 female girl presidents out of 91. But the generation that you are in right now, women's voices are being heard, and you're seeing them coming up. I mean, currently the race is having 4 ladies, which is nice. At least people are coming out of their shell and taking it up. The previous race, we did not have any female, but seeing that this race, there are 4 people coming up, that is really nice. When you look at other universities, still, females actually taking up this position. So females have been empowered, and we are doing great as females. Yeah.
That's nice. So, what kind of message do you have for any young woman or any woman who is currently watching our show, who is inspired to become a leader as great as you? What kind of advice can you give her?
If you do not sit on the table that makes the menu, you will have to bear with whatever is presented on the menu. So if ladies have issues affecting them, if we are to come up and get our voices heard, we have to sit on the table that makes the policies. You have to sit on the board that makes all these changes, and that can only happen if we come out from our shell, take up the leadership positions. However small it is, we all start small. Do not wake up one morning like, okay, I'm going to go for president of Uganda. No, it starts small. Whether it's a group discussion, like, okay, I'll be a team leader, whether it's classwork, whether it's publicity secretary of any association, however small it is, that is what builds you to become something bigger.
Yeah. So, do you think Makerere is ready for a female good president? Do you think it's ready for you?
It's not about being female. I think it's about someone who has had the experience, someone who has been there, someone who knows what it takes to make certain advocacies. We've had credits of our government, we've had flaws of our government, and I know how best they can be handled. So it's not about female or male. It's about someone who is going into something and they are experienced. They know what exactly has to be done to deliver the best for the students.
Yeah, okay. Do you think you're the right candidate for that job?
Yes, I am. Okay.
I love your confidence.
Thank you.
In your own words, Gracious, what is leadership to you?
Leadership is about serving. It's about service. The people that entrusted you with power, Are you really doing what they put in that position? Because people put you in these positions, probably you have competition and they get to choose you over someone else. Are you really delivering what you promised? Are you keeping in touch with them? Because I think the biggest problem that some leaders get is that they detach themselves from the people that they lead, and you cannot feel what these people are feeling. So it's about service and delivering what is right, what the people actually need. You might deliver, but it's not what the people actually need. So delivering what exactly the people need.
Running for guild is not something easy. You have to have had student issues. So, as guild presidents, what are those issues? What are your top 3 student issues that you will tackle once you're in office?
Number 1, tuition for private students. Government students may not really know the cost of education, but the private students really pastoralate. We've managed from Samba's government and our government, each time we are operating exams, you have to write a letter to the Vice Chancellor requesting for students to at least sit on the covered 60%. So every semester, it's not a sure for the students. They're like worried, will they accept this semester? Will they accept this semester? Good enough, it has occurred in 4 semesters. The 2 semesters where some were Guild President, and the 2 semesters where we've served and Guild President as Guild and Vice President. So why shouldn't it be incorporated as a policy? Because if there's space for it, why do the students really have to have worries of this semester, will I sit for PayPal on I've paid 60%? It could be incorporated as a policy so that we do not have this back and forth writing of letters, then you're waiting for a response and students are getting on pressure. So that kind of thing. It should be incorporated as a policy where students are allowed to sit papers when they paid 60% tuition. Number 2 is about the red gowns. I paid for my red gown, but I've never received it. I just hear stories of, you go to the pitch when you have a match of Chambogo and Makerere University. Chambogo people come with their gowns, undergraduate gowns. Makerere, you can only get a gown if you got it from like a sister or brother, long time. And you're paying for them. But they are not being released. And that is our identity as Makereans. If I leave Makerere with that red gown, it's an identity. I will show my kids, I will show my siblings, I'll tell them this is what shows that I'm someone from Makerere. Not just the paper, NASA is there and everything. But that identity, that tradition, that culture and everything. So the red gowns is an issue. And then hunger. Hunger is something that we cannot underestimate. Whether it's government student or it's a private student, we have issues of hunger. My parents, they normally tell me they used to go to KK and buy food of 500 shillings. Right now, KK prices might be just a difference of 500. If the beans are 3,000, then here in campus it's 3,500. We need to get a place where food is provided at a cheaper price. Where students, if I'm not privileged to be able to eat from a place where food is 5,000, at least there's a section where I can go to and eat food for 2,000. So hunger, tuition for private students, and the red gowns. They are things that I want to see happening in Makerere in a better way, and students will thrive well.
Okay. And how do you propose to get those issues fixed?
One, for tuition, given the fact that at least we've written the letters and they were responded to positively, that means if we advocated for a policy to be incorporated and you do not have to go back and forth with these letters, it can be welcomed by the administration. I've been vice president and I know the right buttons to press. I know who you can talk to in the administration to have this happening. Just that, there are some limitations. As vice president, you may not be able to do something. You cannot spearhead something because you only deputize the president. The priorities of the president are the things that you also give a hand in because you deputize him. You do not take on his role. But being the president will give me a chance to spearhead this advocacy and also fix what should do right, what the president needs to do right. the issue of the foods, we can have a place in campus. They can build a place where because sometimes prices of food are high because of the rent. But I think basically because of the rent. If rent is high, I'll have to make sure I get profits that will be able to cover up my rent. If the university provided a place where they are not overcharging these people, the service providers, then also their prices will reduce. So, and it's something that can be, we have a little space in the university where we can have a food court being built and services are provided to students at a cheaper price.
Okay. So, Makerere tends to be a rigid school. Makerere policies can be like you can suggest something as the guild president or as students, but the administration itself tends to be so rigid that they don't tend to follow up on these demands or on these requests as the students what we ask for. So how do you propose you'll get the administration to do what you propose or do what you want?
Over the years, from the time they shut down the physical campaigns, social events, they are now being restored. It depends on your relationship with the administration. So some things have been revived during our government because we understood how best you could talk to the administration and find that neutral ground whereby some things are being restored. I mean, social events, physical campaigns, even when voting is online, at least there's a step of the physical campaigns. Even that whole tuition thing. So it's a matter of you knowing how best you can handle the administration. There are people, some of them have students in campus here, so they understand the pain of the students, but how best the leaders present these issues to them. So that is something that you need to work on. It's not about coming here and I'm like, guys, we need to do this. Let's get, the masses and march to Ivory Tower and do this. I mean, all they can do is call the police and keep our voices silent. But if you have leaders that can go and bargain well for what is affecting the students, then things can be done.
Okay, so you've talked about bargaining well. I think other leaders have also done that. And, we've had several strikes here in campus. Don't you think the leaders had something to do with that? Like they had a peaceful talk with the administration, but the administration failed, so they had to resort to forceful means. So, what do you say about that?
I'll speak from what I've experienced as vice president. We've not had any strike. We've not had any protest. Even when the allowances of government students were delayed, I think that is when the people tried to raise their voices, and still the dean had to come, talk to the students. Letters were released and it was addressed. Within a week or two, allowances were received. So I do not know how other governments handled their issues that led to strikes and everything, people being arrested and suspended. But from the government that I've served in as vice president, at least we bargained for some things and it was a success.
I understand you're the Guild Vice President of Makerere University as of 24-25, right? So, you've worked closely with the Guild President. What areas do you think he has excelled in? Like he has really stood out in those areas. And what other areas do you think he has let down? Can I say in such a way like he has neglected or? So yeah, what first with the areas he has excelled at?
Okay, the areas that he has excelled at, the restoration of social event. Number 2, the restoration of physical campaign. Number 3, the tuition waiver. As of today, the letter was released and at least the pressure has decreased. People are now sure that they'll sit for papers on Monday. So those 3 things, he has really handled them well. And yeah, I applaud the government for that. Also, antimicrobial resistance, at least the office of the Prime Minister really handled that well too. Putting in consideration people from CHS and that the sensitization around campus, antimicrobial resistance should not only be at CHS but it is a concern for everyone. Yeah. Plus the PADAP had her up campaign that happened in Chikoli. Yeah. I really credit the government for that. Well,
This shortcoming.
yes, the shortcomings, I think it was the relationship between the guild president and the GRC house. Even some people say that it is a must. The GRC house is always anti-cabinet, but no. Why should you make that something normal? It should not be the normal thing. Yeah, so the relationship there was a bit of a gap between the GRC house and the guild president. Yeah.
So those are his shortcomings. Those are first one.
Yeah, because there may be other things that he would have done in a better way, but because of that gap, you understand GRCs are the ones that have that close contact with people at school, people at home. So by the time, if I can easily approach you and I tell you, oh, students are facing this and this and this at home, like I freely talk to you, then you will know what is exactly happening at these spaces. Because if I'm a guild president from CHS, I will not always be at KS or Cs to know what is happening there. But the leaders that were elected from Cs are the ones that are being affected directly. So if that is there, then you know what to deliver best for which people.
Okay. Yeah. So that imposes a very, very serious question.
Yeah.
You know, once in cabinet or in office, like leaders often lose touch with students. Once they get in office, they forget about the students who put them in power, and now they start to serve their needs or interests, or what for them they deem that is like important for them. So how do you propose that will be overcome? How will it be any different for you than for the previous leaders that have come?
As I said before, I've been in that space. I've been a GRC of my school. I've been a leader at CHS. When I go to CHS, people do not address me as vice president. People know me as Gracious. When I go for any gala, when I go for any event, anywhere, it's always Gracious. It's not vice president. Because I know that position doesn't matter if you're not with the students, if you're not with these people. So I've been there and I've handled it like a normal student. I always try to bring myself down to the normal student. Young ones would always be welcome to my room. You can always come. They can, oh, Gracious, I want to stand for GRC. Oh, how did you become vice president? Like, have that interaction with them, inspire them. So I've been there, I've handled it well, and I do not think I can change. Yeah.
So, as the guild vice, how would you rate your administration? Like, out of 10?
6.8.
Absolute 6.8.
Yeah, 6.8.
Why not a 10?
Why not a 10? Because there's some things we really did do well as a government. The credits are there, but then the loopholes are also there. There are probably issues that we never addressed or issues that were not prioritized, even when it was brought on table by other leaders, because students will deliver their grievances to the leader that is just close to them. Even when the SCR presented it or CGC or any other person presented it, maybe it was not worked on, or maybe it wasn't given priority, it wasn't given focus. So that's why I'll go with a 6.8.
A solid 6.8.
It's above average, but not our best.
Yeah, it's not our best. Okay. So you think you'll do better than a 6.8 in your government?
Yes, because by God's grace, if I happen to be the guild president, it will not be a government of Gracious. It will not be the Kadwendi government. No. I want the government to go back to the students. I want every decision to be made by the house, because I might look at a policy that will only favor CHS, but in the end affecting School of Law or affecting Cs. So if you're making a decision and everyone is involved, you get to realize the best way to handle it, not just as a person or how you feel like would be best, but a collective effort from everyone representing the different constituencies around the university.
What has this experience taught you, like as a female GRC school level sense? Like, how has this position prepped you for guild presidents?
Being a GRC, School of Health Sciences, I got to learn, especially during the campaign period, you get to understand people on a personal basis, at least for GRCs. When you're campaigning as a GRC, you really have to understand these people. Not everyone by name, not everyone by face, interact with each and every one of them. So you actually get to learn different characters, how to handle them. Like I said, in that period, remember now you're benching for votes. So you have to give this person an ear. That's the time you get honest opinions about people, honest views. People tell you what they think about the previous leaders. They ask you questions. I mean, you had a leader here, they didn't do anything. What are you going to do? So you get to understand how these people feel about the different leaders. And I really didn't want to have that reputation as a person. So even after winning, I made sure I was still a pharmacy student. I was still their girl. Being vice president after winning GRC, you get to understand the different dynamics of the university. What students want, what the administration wants, how the administration considers information they get from students' leaders. All that. It has been a whole experience. You learn different things, but the biggest lesson is how to handle people, everyone in their capacity, whether it's a student, whether it's non-teaching staff, a cleaner, a guard, because people are locked out of hall at midnight. So someone comes knocking at 1 in the morning, the guard is like, no, you guys think we are going to be here waiting for you people. The child is also like, I mean, it's a weekend, I'm from out. Like at least from Monday to Friday I've been indoors, and then one day, a Saturday, a Sunday, I'm just from outside. You understand how to deal with everyone, the administration, the students, everyone. Yeah.
So, what are some of the challenges you first, like, you'd be like, yeah, this was a really big challenge? Yeah. What are some of those challenges you faced as a female GRC?
Late response from the concerned parties. If a student told me they did not have marks, they have missing marks on the portal, you go to the concerned parties, the registrar, the head of department, and they delay to do that. This side, the students will be like, you're not working, I mean, we trusted you and everything you get. So the late response that we get from the concerned parties, whether it's college principals, the registrar, the vice chancellor, the dean, the late reply, because students will think you're not working or you're not hearing us out until they see something visible. All students want a result. You don't give us your excuses, we want result. So that late response is the biggest challenge.
First.
Yes.
Okay. As we are concluding this interview, what is one, okay, not necessarily a sentence, but what words can you leave us with? Like what advice or like a sentence or anything? Leave us with something.
We all dream of a great Makerere. We all want to see Makerere come to reality as the premier university of Africa, not just in words, but to have that reality happening in the university. It is not going to be a task for one person. It will not be a task for the administration, but it is a task for all of us. We all have a role that we can play, whether in just casting your vote for the leaders, whether in adding a voice where you can in the different advocacy. We are in a political season. Let everyone keep safe. Do the politics, support your candidate, but do it wisely. Let the competition be healthy, because there's life after politics. Continue being friends with someone regardless of the person they've chosen to support, but let us all do whatever we can and make sure our university becomes the premier university of Africa in reality, not just talks.
Okay. Thank you so much.